Yeah. Thank you, sir. Let's put it together. I've never been to Tom either. This man has it. Sir, give a pen. How are you guys doing today? Life can cover crisis. My kids are not excited about their summer.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, they're not doing anything. It's like keeps asking. He only goes to visit his grandparents. Goes back and forth to do that. He's out, goes to a camp. Where people come from all over the country and he sees them all. And they're not doing any of those things. Oh, thank you.
I mean, any of the cautious stuff that we should. I said any of the cautious minimizing risk. Yeah, that.
You can do it like we normally do. I guess I am going to have to like present stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is probably gonna have to move in and out, otherwise you're gonna be the great disembodied voice in the ether.
Do you want me to roll it out with me every time?
What, the microphone?
This whole thing. I think it's on wheels.
It is on wheels.
It's just we got to be careful of the mic. If you have me start moving it around.
Why don't we?
I could also be off to the side here, over by these chairs right here.
So right now,
Are you like recording the Zoom call or?
yeah,
Okay.
there's a few people in.
That's omnidirectional. That one's omni. This one's not, right? This one's short range.
Yeah. So right now it's got. Sounds like Arbor.
See, it's just light.
Can you move that chair to the right? Yep. That chair, go that way.
It's not too bad. 74.
Twist it a little. This way, the other way. Okay. All right, Thumper. That you can take back like all the way to the power cord. Sorry, to your left. Going.
JT, what is the link? Do you have the link?
Yes, it's on Teams, sir.
Yeah.
In the general channel.
What about on like spouses channel?
No, sir, did not do that.
I'm gonna get him Frank here to, on the camera.
You want to put him over here?
No, I want him like right here. Not all the way, but just enough so we can see him talk.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, just move the wire.
I mean, that's cool if you don't. You don't need to see me.
Well,
You can go another 3 feet.
really?
I could be like Orson Welles.
We're gonna move him up then.
Still has a frame.
Radio days. It's all about slide.
No, you got another 2 feet to go.
Really?
I can see that. I can see that much of the end of the.
I would honestly say if this happened.
I could move the camera back further.
Oh, sure.
But you're still gonna have to move.
I'm guessing we never found a blanket.
Nope.
All right, we're doing it this way. The only reason why I suggested me not be in the picture is because I need to go over there and grab stuff. But I can move those right over here. So that's not a big deal.
I'm sure Sergeant Warrenberger. Okay. Maybe not. She's got a baby.
Yeah, she brought a baby.
Boss, can you text Sergeant Becky and see if he can hear us? First Sergeant, if you could, please text Colonel Smith to make sure the mic works.
I can also just dialing myself.
Oh yeah, if you get the Zoom.
I just posted it. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, well, if I was
Yeah.
Good. Once you're done with the invitation.
Sir? We can be separate. Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Anything but that?
No questions asked. This time on schedule. Good. Don't have to worry about it. 4 weeks. Okay. Let's talk about going again. What's that look like? And so, I mean, just not say that. Over 3 weeks is out of the question. Just so you know, can't plan this. So,
good, that's a little frustrating.
All right. Gift. All right. So.
So you're gonna hand me this stuff, right? I'm not gonna keep track.
I've got all this. I've got all this. Okay. So after our new certificate all over the website, followed by his gifts. So the last thing you'll do is present his gift.
Okay. Present his gift.
Yep. His. Oh, have you? You haven't seen it.
Okay. No, that's very easy. I'll see it soon. Cool. Very cool. Awesome.
That's great. So you can't talk. It's almost.
But I was trying to articulate.
Yeah.
We don't want everybody. We don't want all the noise.
Are these correct? Are they together for a reason?
For him to sit, you to sit during presentations and stuff, sir. They probably should be off to the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Can I move them a little bit?
Yes, sir. Unless you wanted them in the picture.
use internet audio instead
If
of.
I,
Yeah. That's also good. Go back first. So that, we'll go back to school. That was, we both did at the same time. So, and she's got homework, and I've got homework. We're both like this. So even though we weren't like talking to each other, we were still the same.
how's it going? Thanks. Are you doing invocations today? What did I do today? Oh, I meant to have them facing the same direction. All right. They have this weird rounded front to them, so it's, I got it. They look straight. They're not. Trying to social distance the chairs, which is I can.
And then all it has to do is like kind of jumps. But I have no way of proving
Just
it.
that on the bigger meeting didn't go very well, so
Yeah, that's what I heard. They moved it back to study right now.
so what's happening?
They gave up on WebEx. I don't know why they don't do it. Do you guys use Teams at all?
We Slack all the time.
Oh, you're on one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. Got its own issues.
Yeah, well, we really do our.
I don't know,
morning
something that we
sync.
were talking about, why do you think like
All of our
you gotta
big
have some
discussions
kind
are on WebEx.
of cunning?
So we were doing all WebEx first. Now we almost exclusively use.
Good.
Really?
Yeah, we do. We don't
Hey, if you want to watch the ceremony, he's doing it over Zoom as well.
So much faster.
So who's gonna sit in the guys
Right.
you guys can watch it.
We are probably.
Here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I know, Walter was saying that he likes the media stuff, you know, like something
Yes.
comes down, and it's like, hey, what's he gonna do this? And everybody's like, response right away. Yeah, well, no
same-
matter what, whatever.
Yeah. Same way on Teams. So we got, channels.
So we have-
just like we did on Slack. The cool thing about it is you can actually store PII and FOU, everything else, right?
Sometimes.
I guess we have to on Slack.
No.
So Slack has a moderate Instagram,
Yeah.
but I don't, that's all that, Teams has, so I don't know.
I don't
No,
know, they told us it was awesome.
Yeah, well, cause it, so, there has to be like an owner,
Yeah.
that's up to risk. So I think if it's done.
Okay.
The Slack.
Yeah.
But they
Yes,
have-
we are having a
The CIO
wonderful
actually
time.
did.
Yeah.
Josh came down last night.
But
He's
you don't have to-
here
Boss,
too.
and
so-
it's time.
All right,
My speech up there.
Your speech is ready.
No, she's working.
which chair do I sit?
You are in the inside chair.
I'm in that chair.
Because
Okay.
you're in first.
Thanks, Circle.
So we're gonna have to just step over the cables when you come around.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Sorry, you grabbed it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's ceremony honoring Major Jeremy Allen Thompson. I'm Lieutenant Partisini, and I'm honored to be your narrator today. Throughout this ceremony, you will be given cues to stand and be seated at the appropriate times. As a reminder, during the singing of our national anthem, military members will stand at attention, and our civilian guests should place their right hand over their hearts. Lastly, we request that you silence all electronic devices for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you.
That's not what I was looking for. It's okay if you have it ready to go. Sorry.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the men and women of the 833rd Cyberspace Operations Squadron will pay tribute to Major Jeremy Allen Thompson on the occasion of his retirement from active duty. After 21 years 8 months and 7 days of faithful service to the United States Air Force and to our nation. The presiding official for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Colonel Zachary Smith, Commander, 833rd Cyberspace Operations Squadron. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation by Senior Chief Retired Houston Thompson.
Kind of turn whenever it goes.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, the heavens tell us of your glory, and their expanse declare the work of your hands. In you, Father, reside all authority, and you give it to whomever you please. We remember you gave the imperfect founders the perfect authority to establish a nation that proclaimed the gift of God-given freedom. And this glorified you, Father. And you've given most of us in this room the honor of protecting this nation, as we have taken the sacred oath to preserve and protect the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. This obligation we freely took and are not relieved of, although its office and method of execution may change at times such as this. On this occasion of the retirement of Major Jeremy Thompson, we remember that in your word you told us there is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every event under heaven. So at this time, we ask your Spirit to be present as we acknowledge the career and the passing down of Air Force traditions which were vested in him. These, Father, he kept close to his heart and executed to the best of his ability through the office that you entrusted him with. We ask your blessing on those he passed them down to, that they may carry on those traditions in leadership, helping keep this nation strong and its people free. We ask your favor and blessing on Major Thompson, on his family, and these proceedings. We seek that this may honor and glorify you, and that amongst the many memories carried forward will always be the remembrance and knowledge of your providence in this nation and in each of our lives. We are thankful that we may seek you in times of joy, in times of trouble, and yes, in times of transition. For this, Father, we are eternally grateful. And it is for this gratitude and in faith we ask all these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please be seated. Before we proceed, we'd like to take the opportunity to introduce some very special guests, beginning with the wife of our honoree, the lady who served alongside and shared his dedication to the Air Force until putting her career on hold. To follow him here, Sarah Thompson. Also sharing in the memories of this occasion are his daughter, Megan, and son, who could not be here, Trevor. His mom, Navy veteran Wanda Thompson, who is here virtually. His father, Navy Senior Chief Retired Houston Thompson, and his stepmom, Colette. And his brother, Joshua. We'd like to extend a warm welcome to all commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, family, friends, and the men and women attending digitally. We thank all of you for attending to share this special day with Major Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Smith.
All righty. Such that it is, right? So here we all are, sort of all here, how this works, right? It probably isn't exactly what you thought. It was like, I've got this big, long career. I've known all these people, you know, been at the 24th Air Force, been in the San Antonio community, in the cyber community, and I have like all of 6 people in the room for my retirement, right? But that is the COVID crisis in a nutshell right there. We've had a lot of things like this happen over the last 3 months where we've tried to all figure out how to adapt, how to react. And it's slightly surreal, yes. And we know that all this technology that we usually didn't use for these things, we, you know, got the whole squadron here, lined them all up. Usually I told them all to go, you know, otherwise it probably wouldn't come. But, you know, that's okay. Anyhow, line them all up, and then they all kind of pay their last respects for you. That's not the right way of saying it. Is that how it is? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Anyhow, so they now the new situation is we can't have people from other units. We don't cross-contaminate. You know, Candace is here for the 92nd, representing the entirety of the cyber community. Hello, Candace. But she's also got a good, I'd say, 20 feet of distance between her and anybody else. So that's sort of how the room works, right? That being said, we're all here for you. We're all here for you in different ways. Although we couldn't physically all be present with you, you had a big impact on a lot of people across your career, without a doubt. I saw it in the squadron every single day. I definitely know that there's many people, especially the CGOs, who I think you did a fair amount of mentoring and a couple of counseling too over the years, all present. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about your career. You were prior enlisted, like me, a long time ago, right? Galaxy far away in many ways. I was reading through your surf, and you actually enlisted exactly 1 year after I enlisted. So,
Nice.
So we're pretty close there in age. But you grew up calm. You really did. You grew up in the epitome of calm. Besides being calm when you were enlisted, you became calm whenever you're an officer too. So you grew up in that mission support community. You definitely knew what it was like to have to make sure all this stuff works. That being said, at some point, everything in you started to change. And I don't know exactly, because it's not on your surf, at what point your mentality changed. Maybe it was from the very beginning. Maybe you were an operator hard from the very beginning, but you're certainly one now. And there was definitely a time frame. I'm guessing the 24th Air Force, was that it? Was that whenever you That's whenever you became an operator on the staff? I had a feeling that was actually what it was. So at OTS, JT meets his wife, Sarah. And I would say that was probably the big turning point for you in everything, mentality-wise, how your attitude towards life worked. Everything sort of shifted in you at that point. So I'm not surprised that you became more focused and more driven and more of a meat eater, so a carnivore, so to speak. Anyhow, you had a good effect on him. I'm glad you did, because if you did not come into his life, then we probably would not have had a decent deal at exactly the time that we needed him. And he was working on making himself a fantastic officer, but he cut it short, unfortunately. So, anyhow, yeah. So the JT's career as an operator really ended here in this unit, and we have a brand new unit, right? So we're 5 years into our history. So I would say at this point, the character of the unit was shaped by JT. And we have gone through this, just in the year that I've been here, an incredible journey. Your journey inside this squadron was a quite incredible journey for some other day, right? But since I have been the commander, your effect on me has been profound. Your effect on the squadron has been profound. For those of you guys that don't know, we have all sorts of mission things about to happen. And it's funny that he has to retire before those all happen. It literally is like next week. We're going out on things. So it's going to be busy time in this squadron. They were talking about some of the amount of committed. I think we've got nearly 60% committed operations. So it is a huge ops tempo right now that we're coming into. And For the last year, JT and I have focused very strong on readiness and making sure this squadron is ready to go. And I would say at this point, boy, with all the challenges and all the excitement and COVID crisis mixed in, we are ready to go. That team, we are sending our first teams out the door. We have more teams going out the door shortly thereafter. We have split ops. We have all this stuff going on, and we would not be ready for the amount of capacity we are putting into mission if we did not have you here. From the focus on training, from the focus on all the other things, and not to give you a big, the family and everybody else a big boring list of military jargon. He did his job really well. This position is a boarded position. So the Air Force goes through, they read through your career, read through your history, and they handpick you based on your aptitude to do this job. There's only a couple of jobs that we do this on. I'm in one of them, a C prefix, and the B prefix, the DO. That's it. So he reached the, basically, for an Air Force officer's career, this is what we all strive for. This is why we do what we do, is to be handpicked to be in these leadership jobs, these key leadership jobs, to really have an impact on the mission, which defines who you are. You're an operator. You're going down an operator, man. So, and although I definitely wish you well in where you're heading next, I also kind of ticked off because, man, it'd be nice to have you. But I think there's some people that have stepped up to really fill your shoes. And I think that's also a testament to what you have done, that you grew people to replace you, because so that nobody is indispensable, right? That is a critical piece that a lot of people lack. They forget to grow the people that come after them. And you did that as well. So for all that you did for me, thank you. For all that you did for the squadron, thank you. But now, for all that you're doing for your family, which is I would say that one of the most critical and core pieces of who we are as individuals, is making sure that we are there for our family. You have been there for your country. Your family has been there for your country. You know, come from a Navy family. Sarah has been there for her country. You have a family that understands what it means to serve. And now I'm excited for both of you guys to head off and do something that's hopefully a little bit less tension and pressure and headaches and frustrations, and most importantly, a little bit more sense of stability and control, which is, I know, something that is very hard for us all to deal with. That's part of what it means to serve. You've earned this, without a doubt, through your commitment. Both of you have earned this through your commitments. Thank you for all that you have done. I wish the best to you both.
Thanks, boss.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Lieutenant Colonel
we
Smith.
don't touch anymore.
We didn't touch that much to begin with. Just to be
That's true. There was a hug here and there. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Lieutenant Colonel Smith presents the Meritorious Service Medal, Second Oak Leaf Cluster to Major Thompson.
Back to full gear again. Okay, there we go. It looks better, I'm sure.
Makes me feel safe.
Yeah, okay.
Attention to orders. This is certified that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16 January 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, Second Oak Leaf Cluster to Major Jeremy A. Smith for meritorious service.
Close.
Thompson.
Sorry, Thompson. Sorry. For meritorious service, 12 May 2018 to 31 July 2020. Major Jeremy A. Thompson distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Director of Operations, 833rd Cyberspace Operations Squadron, 567th Cyberspace Operations Group, 67th Cyberspace Wing, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, Texas. During this period, Major Thompson brought dynamic threat-focused training to the unit by building 7 teams to train 46 operators during 6 exercises. His initiative culminated in first place for the squadron in 4 out of 6 defensive cyberspace operations competitions. Additionally, he directed a 34-member United States Cyber Command cyber protection team for 6 months during an acute manpower shortfall. His outstanding direction during a critical joint mission protected an $800 million combatant command weapon system from adversary cyber attack. Furthermore, Major Thompson oversaw planning and execution for all 3 of the unit's cyber protection teams through 6 national missions involving over 1,200 tasks. His oversight of 105 operators resulted in the peerless defense of 9 Department of Defense networks valued at $83 billion. Finally, his outstanding leadership was recognized when his team earned the 67 Cyber Wing 2019 Large Team of the Year Award, and with his selection as the 567 Cyberspace Operations Group 2019 Field Grade Officer of the Year. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Major Thompson culminate a distinguished career in the service of this country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force.
All right. No shaking anymore.
Oh,
I mean,
In fact, we probably should have hand sanitized before you came to do this stuff.
great,
Started
great,
great.
great.
This is your moment.
One job. Yeah, you take it.
Oh, I did it. Sorry.
That's it.
that's it. Okay, we will now proceed by reading the formal retirement order.
You get like 12 certificates.
I know.
Your turn.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Washington District of Columbia, Special Order Number AC 013849, dated 28 February 2020. Subject: retirement of Major Thompson, Director of Operations, 833rd Cyberspace Operations Squadron, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, Texas. Is relieved from active duty assignment effective 1 August 2020. Major Thompson is retired in the grade of Major effective 1 August 2020 after completion of 21 years, 5 months, and 7 days of faithful and honorable duty by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Not you all.
No, no.
Got a lot of certs.
We have all sorts of other things.
Cursor. Okay. Major Thompson received a certificate of retirement, which reads, Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America to all who shall see these presents.
Going,
This is to certify that Major Jeremy Thompson, having served faithfully and honorably, will be retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of August 2020. Signed, General David L. Goldfein, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force, and Colonel Melissa S. Cunningham, Commander, 67 Cyber Wing. I'll put it back.
Okay.
They'll be here, I promise.
Okay. Nobody's gonna steal them.
Okay. Every retiree receives a special retirement pin as a memento of their active duty service. At this time, I'd like to ask Sarah to please come forward and place this pin on her husband's lapel. The retirement pin symbolizes their transition from active duty to retired status.
Stab me.
Probably deserves it. It's okay.
Wait till you hear the speech. You want to stab me.
Certificate of Appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. And it reads, Major
That's
Jeremy
very
A. Thompson, I am proud to join your friends and family in congratulating you on the retirement from the United States Air Force. The achievements and contributions you have made throughout your career are indicative of the core values of our great service. Your retirement is well deserved, but your selfless contributions will be sorely missed. On behalf of all airmen, thank you for your faithful and devoted service to our nation. As this chapter in your life closes and a new one begins, I hope the years ahead are filled with more great memories and continued success. Signed, Colette O. Wright, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force.
Yours are a little more polished than the Chief of Staff.
Yeah, I know.
More?
No.
All right.
List of Jesus.
Sarah, you'll please come forward. Lieutenant Colonel Smith will now present Sarah with a certificate of appreciation from the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, which reads, Mrs. Sarah L. Thompson, in grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents a certificate of recognition for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Signed, David L. Goldfein, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force, and Colonel Melissa S. Cunningham, Commander 67 Cyber Wing. There's one more, man.
You can add that back if you want.
Don't get away that easy.
It's a process.
Next, we have a certificate of appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, and it reads, Mrs. Sarah L. Thompson, on behalf of all Air Force airmen and their families, I join your spouse, family, and friends in thanking you for the numerous contributions and sacrifices you made in support of our nation, our United States Air Force. Your dedication gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service and defense of our nation. Signed, Cletho Wright, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force.
I don't know exactly how to put my hand.
Okay.
So you can take this one.
Will Megan please come forward and join your
Hold on to that one.
parents? I'll take
It's up to you.
You
Got
go.
it.
Now you stay up here too. Join the parents.
Yep.
We rehearsed this a lot ahead of time.
Each child is presented with a certificate of appreciation, which reads,
Yep.
in grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Megan R. Thompson on the occasion of the retirement of your father, Major Jeremy Thompson, from active duty with the United States Air Force. Your unfailing support and understanding of your father's commitment helped make possible his lasting contribution to the nation. Signed, Colonel Melissa S. Cunningham, Commander 6th Cyber Wing.
I mean, you can keep it if you really want to.
You're gonna get it
Okay.
at some point. I think so.
That's it. Oh, what is it? You have to stand, sir.
Oh.
Next, we would like to present the 833rd Cyberspace Operations Squadron would like to present Major Thompson with his going away gift. Major Thompson has prided himself on being the hammerer of good idea fairies / just general idea fairies, whether they're good or bad. And so we wanted to honor that.
Forged in the core of a dying star. So here you go.
We figured the first one you probably hammered probably in basic training, so we were able to find it here and put it on the There you go.
Yeah.
I just have the stockpile over here.
Good job.
Here for you, sir. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Smith. You may take a seat.
Oh, you're good. You can sit.
At this time, Major Thompson would like to make a presentation to his wife as a symbol of appreciation. Will Sarah please come forward?
Do you need help? Do you need help with it?
Yeah.
Oh. So, do you have something to say?
I have a whole thing, but go ahead.
Or you go ahead.
The United States Air Force Shadow Box is rich in military tradition. The Shadow Box, as its name implies, shadows our military career. The box reflects the selfless dedication to duty and the many personal sacrifices we have made during our military career. The medals represent our personal accomplishments. Our dedication to our country is forged into these medals. The ribbons and devices are a reflection of the persons who wore the uniform and represent valor and reaffirm our commitment to service. The badges represent career paths the Air Force needed you to follow, and you did so with conviction and devotion. The rank insignias show your ability to follow and, more importantly, to lead others to accomplish the mission. May you display the Shadow Box in a prominent place so all who see it know the Thompsons served their country with dedication, sacrifice, and above all, honor.
Oh, yeah, that was mine. I think you can sit down.
There's, okay. Before we turn the floor over to Major Thompson for his speech, he would like to present Lieutenant Colonel Smith and all the Ravens of the 833rd COS with a gift. The actual one is at the
Yeah, this isn't the gift itself. The gift will be put on the item that is at the unit. Sir, if you join me.
Okay.
So, this is the plaque to
Oh,
go
that's
with
great. Look at
the popcorn machine, Candyman's Corn Contraption version 2, or the 3C2.
Of course.
What does the inscription say?
Don't be stupid.
Thank you, Doctor. Perfect.
They come out?
As I was looking, I don't even know. I was more like, oh my God. That's great. Okay. Thank you.
You may be seated, sir. Sir, not you, though. It's your time. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is with great pleasure to turn the floor over to Major Jeremy A. Thompson, United States Air Force, retired.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody for coming. Thanks for everybody that's here digitally. This is probably going to be the longest speech that I've ever given the least amount of people, at least physically present, in my whole career. I'm already looking forward to growing my beard again. I had a beard up until Sunday when Sarah reached out and said, "Are you really going to do your retirement ceremony in a suit?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." And she said, "Well, you know, it'd be cool to see you in your uniform again." She said that sincere, you know, with love. But she's like, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. And she meant that 100%. And that's why I don't have a beard today. So she could see me in my uniform. That is a little snug for the last time. I wrote this down because I didn't want to go just off the cuff. So bear with me, please. Sir, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day, which I know is super busy right now. I'm thrilled how the unit's been tasked, how busy they're getting, and especially that happened the exact day that I quit is hilarious to me and just coincidence, totally just coincidence. You know, as you took command, you had a difficult task coming into the unit, especially when you did, but you're a leader airman and I'd follow you anywhere. You turned the unit into, from what it was into something just amazing. I'm proud to be part of that mission, so thank you very much. I also like to thank Lieutenant Particini, Thumper. You may notice that our podium here is a crate on top of a table and other interesting occurrences. I would have this ceremony no other way. This is perfectly me in every sense of the word, and I appreciate it. COVID made this a extreme fly-by-wire kind of thing. We didn't know until like actually 9 days ago that we're gonna do this. My dad said you're gonna have a retirement ceremony, and the Air Force said it's okay for you to kind of gather a little bit. So I appreciate it. Yeah, it was last Tuesday, I think, is when we finally got the word. What did it say? For as you approach your retirement, because you're prior enlisted as well, make sure you do the exact opposite of what we've done here, and don't schedule a pandemic to happen at the same time. Yeah. To the Airmen of the 833rd, it has been my dream to be in the position that I was in to lead the best airmen in the world. You made that possible with your patience, your wit, quite a bit of sarcasm, and constant comments on my face turning red whenever I spoke to you in a group. I appreciate that. I'm so proud of the things that you've accomplished here recently with the changes that have happened in the unit. It makes me so proud. I'm thrilled at the recent changes, and you're going to let your indomitable spirit continue to conquer your higher headquarters and on occasion the enemy as well. I really appreciate it. Senior Copeland, thanks so much for coming out. I didn't know if you were going to be here. You and I did a lot of work together here, and I'm extremely proud of all the help that you gave me through our dark times here, through the late nights that we had with the challenges. I cherish our talks, our time together, our texts, the times we went TDY and the fun that we had there. And as we moved this unit towards being true cyber operators, you know, just discussing the foolishness of our airmen, because we did that a ton as well. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited for your future. Colonel Atkins, who isn't here, but I wanted to thank him as well for taking command and focusing the group on actually being lethal operators and focusing us on the mission to move forward. Sir, your legacy will live on, and I'm proud to have been part of it. I'm also sorry for directly saying to your face and repeatedly that some things suck. And all praise for you for taking that feedback and letting us build something new. So I have a soft spot on my heart for Colonel Atkins. I'd like to thank the fellow DOs, Candace. I'm going to fit everybody's name, right? Candace, Gato, Isaac, and Walker. And then the DOs at the other base who we won't mention. So the DOs here have been fantastic, and they've been a lifeline and a big community. I love you guys. Candace, you're fantastic. I really appreciate you coming here. I miss DO Thursday lunches quite a bit. and good luck in the future. I'm super excited for all of you moving on. There are tons of other airmen that I served with that made my career possible. Master Sergeant Matthews, who was my first supervisor. Tech Sergeant Stores, Master Sergeant McCourt, Sergeant Graves, Chief Gravener, then Captain and now Lieutenant Colonel Montanti, Colonel Nebraski, Colonel Estes, Colonel Cleveland, and Colonel Granger. All my past and present, barely human lieutenants, because they're not actually people. I can't list everyone, but there is no success in the Air Force as an individual, and I owe a lot of those that bolstered me up through these 21 years. I know I'm forgetting someone here, and for that, I'm sorry. So enough with the military, on to the family. Dad, thanks for coming out. Thanks for the invocation. That was beautiful. I still remember your retirement a little when you retired as a senior chief from the Navy. It seemed like it was a little more formal than this occasion. That's the Navy for you, you know, stiff and unfun. There was also a whole lot more people, probably because it wasn't a pandemic. And I'm glad, and you, Colette, can make it out. Mom, I'm so glad you could be here virtually. We haven't gotten a chance to talk a lot about your time in the Navy, but seeing you recently, and we found she had all of my grandpa's old uniforms. So I have an old set of his service coat with the old Master Sergeant stripes and ribbons, his blues, his field coat, and even a pickle suit. What are they called? Fatigues, old fatigues from Grandpa Tedder when he served in the Air Force. So thanks for letting me have those, and it was a great reminder of how deep our family's love for this country runs. Josh, I'm glad you can make the trip down during this time. Thanks for everything you've done to help this past year, and of course, growing up and all that other stuff we did then. Megan, we'll talk more about what this means on our trip to our new home, if you have any questions about retirement, or we can talk about dragons. I mean, either way. I'm not talking about dragons. All right. And I love you, and I'm glad you're always with us. Trevor, you're here virtually as well. I can't wait to see you once we get to our new home. And I will have your certificate there as well. Sarah, as always, you're the best thing to ever happen to me. I was planning for a different type of retirement ceremony for a long time. It would still follow this form and function, but there'd be more people and like food and like an actual retirement ceremony. But you know, the current plagues ruin that. For those that don't know, and Colonel Smith mentioned it, Sarah also served in the Air Force as an officer. She was in air crew, and she actually took the fight to our enemies as an electronic warfare officer on the Rivet Joint. She deployed a lot. She has an air medal at home signed by then JFEC Fingers, Chief of Staff of the Air, who is now Chief of Staff of the Air Force. So her air medal for all the stories that she did in CENTCOM. We met at officer training school just over 11 years ago, which is symbolized by one of the coins in the shadow box. She gave up on multiple career building assignments to include the path to test pilot school and her dream of being an astronaut to stay with me in Omaha. Then the Air Force demanded her career to be sacrificed so I could work at the dungeon known as the 24th Air Force, which is now the 16th Air Force. So when my assignment came up this past fall, I knew it was time to pay back that sacrifice and give time back to her and the family. Also, I knew I'd never be able to make PowerPoint slides as good as Colonel Smith, so my staff days were numbered. Even now with this change on hold, yeah, you do have PowerPoint skills. Even now with this change, she's putting her career on hold to move again. It's the reason I get you flowers all the time, my love. I'll never be able to match that level of dedication and sacrifice. It's why we have a joint shadow box. Together, none of this would have been, without you together, none of this would have been possible. So thank you, babe. When I was a senior airman, I had a commander named Richard Willett, who was fantastic. At his retirement ceremony, I watched him take out a ruffled envelope that crinkled into the microphone that had his retirement speech on it. It's just the kind of guy he was. As he left, I told him I want to be an officer someday, and his response was, well, then do it. So Lieutenant Colonel Willett spent 4 years in the Navy as a CB, and the rest of his 24 years of the service in the Air Force being grateful that he wasn't in the Navy anymore. So, sorry, Mom and Dad. So I slept on that challenge for a while until I saw how some airmen were getting treated by some non-commissioned officers and others. And I knew I could at least make my part of the Air Force better. From that, I got to achieve my dream, which was a commission. I could have retired a second lieutenant, basically, again, not a person, but still this career would have been great. I'd achieved my dream, and I outranked everybody else in my family. Sorry again, Mom and Dad. So I have just a few stories, and then probably just one. My favorite story from my time in the service was As a brand new airman, I showed up to my work center on a Monday, and on Wednesday, I was told I was getting tasked to go to Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates. So I get there on Wednesday, go to the UDM. He gives me all the plans. I get a phone number to call when I'm in Bahrain and show up. On Saturday, I go to the airport and fly to Los Angeles Airport, and then 13 hours to Amsterdam, and then hop on another flight 2 hours later to get to Bahrain. There was nobody there to meet us in Bahrain. The people that I called, we showed up at like 11 o'clock at night, so they weren't at work. I had no idea what to do. So I looked around on the aircraft, and I just followed all the dudes with really close cropped hair that said Peleliu on the side of their sea bags. And we rolled into the airport, and there was a lady there yelling at everybody, "You will get into a taxi, you will pay this much money, you will go to the embassy, you will not pay more, you will not detour." So I get on the taxi, I have no money, somebody covers me. We roll up to the embassy, and the embassy looks like what I could only think at the time as a young airman, 19 years old, one stripe, is a war zone. The Marines are there with M60s pointed at us as we approach, and they say, "Present your identification and advance to be recognized." I don't know what any of that meant, so I just followed the group and held my ID out like this, and they let me in. I was the last person in line as we rolled into the embassy. So the sailors and Marines that were with us rolled up first. "Oh, hey there, Lance Corporal, whatever. Yep, you're 4 to a room." "Oh, hey there, Sailor Rate, whatever," because Navy's ranks are screwy, so I don't ever remember them. "Hey, you're 3 to a room." The guy in front of me is a chief. "Welcome to the embassy, chief. Thank you. You'll be staying downtown in the Ramada Inn." "Great. Who are you?" they say as I get to the front. I say, "I'm Airman Thompson," right? Little E2, Airman Thompson. They're like, "Air Force?" "Yes, sir." "You're staying downtown in the Hilton." "Yes, I am. I am staying downtown in the Hilton." So Dad pushed me into the Air Force recruiter. And when he did that, he went and spoke with the chiefs in the Navy recruiting office. And why he did that, I understood exactly at that moment in time. That was fantastic. The other one that I'm going to mention was the I Believe button. So this is, at this point, I've been in 11 years. I've commissioned. I'm a first lieutenant. Still not a human being. Half a human being, right? And I'm working in the Global Operations Center floor for a Navy Pilot 06 captain. And he is as gruff as you can imagine. He will routinely curse at people on the floor if they are talking in the middle of his brief to take shift. Anyway, I have a circuit that goes out somewhere west that has dropped. They've redone the path with fiber instead of the 1955 copper that ran in the building. I take shift and it's working, and then it drops. And he goes to me, "What do you think the problem is?" "Well, sir, I don't know. It's probably on the distant end. Tech controller at heart, distant end problem, never local. I've already checked it." He goes, "Really? I don't think that's what it is." And I'm like, "You're a pilot. What would you know?" So I don't say that. Instead, I say, "Oh, really? Yeah, I want this back on copper." And I was like, "That's really not a good idea. I disagree with that entirely." "Oh, okay. Well, in my experience, that's usually what it is. When something drops like that after you make a change, it's what we've done here." And I didn't roll my eyes, but it got real close. And I said, "Oh, really? Well, in my experience, it's not, because fiber is stable." He looked at me and he looked at it, said Air Force on my uniform. And he said, "I guess I'll push that I Believe button." I didn't know what to say, so I just said, "Okay." Came back the next day, somebody dug up a cable at the distant end. So I was right. So I learned that as an airman that having rank didn't mean that you were correct, which I've used many a time and gotten slammed many a time. And my inability to be professional in the face of blatant ignorance sometimes got me kicked in the teeth hard. And sometimes it didn't. And when it didn't, it made the dental work worth it. So I've really just had a constant career of getting lucky, of having good leadership, having great peers, and having good airmen that have supported me. I talk back too much, and I am super grateful to all the leaders that let me get away with it quite a bit. And I also enjoy just trashing every other service, generally right to their face, as it should be done. So I'm thankful for everyone I got to work with in these past 21 years. And being able to see a lot of them here in Texas was a super big blessing. I've seen it from somebody from every base that I've been at across 21 years, and it's been wonderful. Thanks again to my beautiful wife, soon we'll be moving on our own terms coming up, and that's great. And it's just way too hot here in Texas. So I'm excited to start my new life with my family where it's cooler and there's mountains. And that's it. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm taking your stuff.
Thank you, Major Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of the United States Air Force are proud to have served with Major Thompson and wish him, his wife Sarah, and his family every success in their future endeavors in Utah. Please stand and remain standing for the departure of the official party. This concludes today's ceremonies. Thank you for attending, and we wish you a great Air Force Day. I specifically asked if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I did try to cover us on that.
Just for those virtually out there, there's no Air Force song because there's like 6 people here, and that's just not enough to sing it. So thanks for coming. We're going to close the room down now.